Forsaken. In a dark, gloomy shadow night, shades of my former self reflect on the asphalt. What will happen to me? An unusual question indeed. Suddenly I foresee the future, and it feels as real as the memory of the pain this has caused. Joyous thought. Sometime in the past, everyone has problems. Seems to be the life slogan of society, but there are exceptions, and Julius being the living example. About to taste the sweet kiss of death. Being born in a conventional household, to rich parents, to an unconventional upbringing. Being fed with a silver spoon. Never learned any discipline nor any consequences as an only child that grew into a tall, handsome, athletic young man, which developed an obnoxious disregard and a lack of remorse and empathy for others but himself. An entire takeover of the family business being promised, including a soul will, consequently having nothing to worry about, let alone having friends, even though unreal, as he doesn't care for real friendship, as well as romantic love affairs with women of a platonic and sexual nature only. With such an upbringing, taking things for granted comes natural. Little does he know, so does his destiny. Why the disregard towards people, rules, and authority? The class tour guide asked Julius, while on a trip at the Mountain of the Fallen Cemetery. After repeatedly spitting, kicking, and drawing on soldiers' tombstones during a history class about their nation's fallen heroes, thinkers, and statesmen, to which he replied, "They're all forsaken. Nobody cares." Anna Lee, the bullied girl from the opposite side of upbringing, poor, not popular, with no future other than constant suicidal thoughts, a slight hunchbacked, daughter of an alcoholic, abusive graveyard keeper, and a deceased mother, heard that and instinctively asked Julius to stop. As for her, the dead are sacred. He replied, "Your life is that of a forsaken corpse underneath all these rocks," and furthermore he let her know that much like these corpses rotting, nobody cares about her, even though she is alive. Struck by the painful response, as she knows the importance of keeping one's memory alive, she went home. While at home, her father, in a drunken rage, is telling Anna Lee to take over his shift at the cemetery, due to his inability, as he is about to pass out. "If you want to continue living here, go to work," he shouts, having worked with him at the cemetery in the past to help out and make a little extra cash before her mother passed away and her father fell into this demonic illness. In anger, she told him she doesn't want to, instead insisting for him to get help. Angered by it, he continues on to say, "This is why you're plagued with a terminal disease, bitch of a mother secretly wanted to die. You're a spoiled little brat that doesn't work and doesn't even take care of her own father. Get out of my fucking house," he screamed in a raspy, drunken, angry voice, tripping over the couch as he tried to throw a plate at her. Anna Lee ran out of the house into the rainy night. Doing so, she didn't know how much she cried due to the heavy rain. As the rain calmed, so did she, and the night turned into a mistful, foggy one. Having no friends, her only escape was the cemetery her mother was resting in. She sat her there, talking to her as if though she felt is the only person listening. In fact, that people were the only ones that understood her. She felt as she was seemingly the only one that keeps the memory of the dead alive, even though in an obsessive way, wishfully thinking that if she does it hard enough, they've come to live. Growing up in her environment, fairy tales, even if dark, is an excellent escape mechanism. It's how she copes with fear of dying herself, while going through life unnoticed seems to be a bigger threat. She knew she had to do something, take destiny into her own hands, let the people pay that treat the dead so disrespectfully while going through life without aftermath nor struggles themselves, while never being disrespected themselves. Instantly thinking of Julius, she felt like killing herself, so she can be reunited with her mother and be one with the forsaken. but she didn't want to let Julius to get away with hurting and bullying her and others in the past as well as in the future. He must pay. She has to make sure he suffers as she always did, or perhaps greater. She imagined her mother's spirit saying, "Come join us in eternity. Let others live, but take a little of their evil spirit away to bury, so you can leave the world a better place. Leave your father alone, as he will be punished enough," she imagined further. One night, after watching Julius coming back from a cheating love affair, he got into his car to drive home. Annalie has made up her mind to take her own life, which shall be caused by him, so he can't live plagued with guilt, psychological instability, ruining his life, possibly ending up in prison. His path home led through a dark street surrounded by forests. Outside of town, Annalie hid behind a tree when she finally saw his car approaching. She jumped in front of the car, hoping to hit her into her certain death. Instead, Julius reacted and instinctively drove to the side, off the road into a tree. Annalie, in total adrenaline and shock, ran away from the scene, as she didn't want to help him in case he survived, however certain that she had killed him. 6 months later, Julius woke up from his coma. He survived the crash. Outside of several fractured bones, a concussion, a broken rib, and a broken leg, he suffered a rare kind of amnesia. He couldn't remember anything past the day after the accident. However, he did see the future, and it was dark. He saw his whole life running a movie. His future wife begins an affair, as he is incapable of an emotional relationship, ultimately falling out of love with him. He, on the other hand, wants desperately to stay with her because that is the condition for taking over the family business, as he would be incapable of running it with the lack of people skills and maturity. The one way he thinks how to save the marriage without it ending in divorce is to try to have a child, which his wife agrees to but ends up in miscarriage. As a result of that, he will fall into alcoholism, abusing his wife and blaming her for the miscarriage, ultimately ending up in divorce. Unaware that his future destiny is a result of his bad behavior in the past, he grows to become a greater demon than his inner ones. He is written off the parents' will, and he will be falling more into drug and alcohol abuse, fear, anxiety, and into total insanity. In a parallel timeline, Annalie saw the suicide survival as a sign, a mission perhaps, one to be lords of destiny for the unjust, unliving, and the forsaken. She is last seen at the cemetery, talking to the dead, asking for further telepathic inspirations to forsake the evil spirits that are still among us.